This is not a drill.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the No Show. Today we have a very special guest, everyone, Mr. Dylan Fadley. All right, so Dylan was actually our first scheduled guest, but maybe what would have been considered the flu or something a couple years back is now the deadly coronavirus Omicron variant. Omicron. And you had that, so how was it, man? You survived it?
Nah, I mean, look, man, 2 days of a little bit of fever and, man, just back at it. Honestly, day 3.5, 4, and I was really 100%. This is my second bout with it, though.
Oh, so you've not only had an Omicron now, but you had one of the prior variants.
Whatever the first one was. When you lose taste and smell. Yeah,
I think that was just regular corona. I don't even know what it was called.
Well, I mean, look, I went to PA, which is a crazy story, and there's no reason to really get into it.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I went up there. We had some work, doing really well, but flew up there, and, it's funny, I was making jokes like, oh, I'm wearing my mask, but ended up getting it, and, man, I had to stay in a hotel room.
Straight lockdown.
Yeah, so you can't, right? What am I going to do? Tell the manager, I have corona, bring some Gatorades.
Well, so, what happens if you were to tell them, like,
oh, yeah, they kick you out.
Yeah.
They kick you out. So, I had like 3 days, man. I had to survive on I ended up going to a CVS. It's not funny. It was really bad off. But, it's kind of the same thing with the flu. If you have the flu and you have a fever, you need some Gatorades and something. I had like a Gatorade and a water. And anyway, 3 days I had to survive by myself without telling anybody what was going on except the old wife. And, look, as soon as I felt a little better, man, I was gone. I got out there gassing. But I had to drive. So I drove all the way from PA. It's like...
back here?
Yeah, 19 hours.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it was a little rough. I stopped in right outside of Nashville in another hotel, but by then I kind of already beat it. It's just 2 or 3 days, man. You feel bad. It's
well, you got family at home too, so you got to be a little concerned about getting back.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, man. So I got back, and I actually stayed in a hotel here for 2 days just to make sure.
Just to be sure.
But anyway.
All right. Well, all right, Dylan. For everybody out here, I'm sure they're asking why Dylan Fadley. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Are you a homegrown Northwest Louisiana boy?
No, absolutely, man. Born and raised Benton, Louisiana.
Okay.
To and from Bossier. I think I lived there for several years, but. Cycle Plant Road, you know where that's at?
Cycle Plant Road. I actually do know where that's at. I swear. Listen.
Look.
In concrete, I pour a lot of house slabs everywhere. I poured one on Cycle Plant Road. Here's what I didn't realize being a South Louisiana boy coming up here. Mm-hmm. And even after living here for a long time, several years, you think of Benton, all I think is like courthouse, that whole little area, Bird Boulevard.
Got a stoplight.
Benton is spread out. I mean, it seems massive.
I mean, you're going out there past like Cypress Lake. But,
yeah.
Cycle Plant Road was when I lived there. I mean, man, look, there was nothing after you left. You know that little corner store off of 162?
Yes. Where the good hamburgers are?
Benton Road. Well, there's always been several different places.
Yeah.
Or several different ingredients that they're cooking, but depending on the time. But man, there was nothing past that. You had Benton Elementary out there on the right.
Yes.
Right after that, you had 10 homes until you met my house.
Well, that is what people tell me, that the whole North Bossier Benton area
blown up
until a few years ago was not like, they tell me this used to just be straight crop fields.
Well, think of it 20 years ago. I mean, look, I don't want to say that I'm 37, but man, there was nothing. We had 3 neighbors, and they were all within half mile from us.
Yeah.
So we lived way out there, and so I started there, elementary school, Benton, Louisiana, and then I actually went to Stockwell Elementary, or maybe my last little stint.
So you climbing all over the
Well,
school system.
Mom and dad split up. Crazy story there. They actually stayed together.
Is that why you ventured, I guess, further in from Benton? Is parents split, or what?
Yes,
what was the?
Yes.
Okay.
So what's funny is I found out later they were actually split before we left.
So they just kind of held it together for the kids, kind of thing.
Yeah, which is crazy, right? What kind of sacrifices is that?
But you respect it. I don't know that it's the right move, but it's honorable.
Yeah, but at the same time, if your kids can't understand it yet,
and they're not feeling that connection like mom and dad.
Well, maybe not, but I mean, it's better there than none.
Yeah, good point.
So I mean, past that, went to Stockwell. That was a disaster. I don't know if it was
just because you didn't know anyone, new
when
environment.
When you're young, 5th and 6th grade, I think is what it was. And
so junior high.
You don't get along with a lot of people.
Yeah.
When you're
you already have established friends where you're from. Right. So going to a new place, it's like you got to do all that over again.
Year-ish there, and then we went back, and then I was in Benton ever since. But I went all the way back out to Cycle Plant Road. Me, Mom, and Adrian, my sister. We lived there by ourselves. So
way out there in the middle of that. See, I can relate to that. I'm from Dry Creek, so I get it. Like, our nearest neighbor is probably a mile away, and he happened to be my best friend because he was the closest person living to us. But at the time, you kind of look up on that kind of stuff as a negative, right?
Oh, absolutely, right. So you're out there by yourself.
Yeah.
And, I would be at school with friends, and they're like...
knowing people that are in town doing the fun stuff.
Or skateboarding or, whatever they're going to do that day. And they're like, I'll see you by the, big oak tree or something. And they're all going to go ride bikes. And I'm out. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to be in the woods. And probably...
play with my imaginary friend.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. But now I miss that. Like,
there's no reason to not be back there. I'm so upset.
I feel sorry for my kid that he's growing up with all these things to do and all these, like, back in our day, bro, we literally went to a stick pile, found some sticks that resembled guns, and I would have wars with myself.
I'm shooting people.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm taking them down.
But kids have so much more nowadays. I mean, there's a ton of stuff to do. We weren't like that. We had to use our imagination.
Imagination was
I hated it at the time, but now... that's a life skill that...
it's regret.
Yeah.
It's regret that we weren't able to keep that property. But, coming out...
What happened with that? Why did y'all...
man, that's a huge thing. So what happened was we... my mom remarried. We actually moved to the lake. I'm high living there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I moved up way notches. I went from, like... if it rained real hard, we couldn't all the way get to the house.
No, I believe it.
My mom, worked full-time job. We lived at daycare until she picked us up.
Yeah.
If it rained real hard, we had a hard time getting up to the property.
To the
house. Because it was a huge dip. Look, man, we lived up, well water and everything else. And so anyway, it was a lot of challenges that my mom went through.
How old were you when the...
all the way up until probably 9th grade.
Oh, so you were older.
Yeah, 9th grade, okay. I think I was on the lake. I'm really bad with timelines like that.
Yeah.
But, at that point, Mom remarried. And so I'm living in High Cotton.
Who had custody?
But my dad had
time?
moved, yeah. My dad had moved to back out to the Cycle Plant property because you don't give
origins.
You don't give that kind of shit up.
Yeah.
Sorry for the language, by the way.
Well, funny story.
We're gonna keep this PG.
I personally heard his wife Lauren tell him before the show, "Watch your language," and I'm sitting here telling him like, "Man, don't worry about it."
Well, I'm really bad at it.
I already got in trouble with my mom, so
you grew up in the oil field. So anyway, look, we did that. Let's see. I grew up way out there. That's where I first started hunting. And look, when you have your dad.
I was gonna say, is your dad bringing you hunting?
Oh no, absolutely, man. I'm looking at 20 gauge. Buckshot was my first doe.
Okay.
Killed a doe. But you're out there in the dark. He puts you in a stand. I don't know if you can relate, but he's like, go sit up there.
Yeah, right? Starting out for the experience, you don't understand the whole doe
you don't get it yet.
or what you're aiming.
Come on.
Yeah.
But then shot my first. But it's funny. I have the first picture. I have a doe, ear in my hand. The deer is in the back of a truck. The shotgun is literally as tall as me.
20 gauge.
I wasn't a tall kid back then. I mean, I'm telling you, I was shooting them way back then, right?
Well, I think your first deer hunting experience can really mold you.
Yeah.
So it sounds like yours is a little bit exciting. Mine, I'm sitting there staying for 5 hours, right? And I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And I've been on more exciting hunts. I mean, my dad took me on my first duck hunt.
Yeah.
Action-packed, fell in love instantly. But I ain't never really had it for the deer hunt because I don't have the patience.
Man. Right. It does. It takes it, especially if you don't have a good spot, right? So that's where that part of me started. But
so what was it like with your mom and dad being separated at that age? Because
it was fine. The problem, the real problem with it is once you get out of the country and you get a little more freedom, you tend to like that a little more. You're not out there by yourself. And
there's new stimulating things that you can get into that you haven't had.
100%.
And at that age, you're not ready to fully respect like growing up in the sticks. You
have no clue. Things were great between mom, dad, and the kids.
Even after the split, everything.
No, absolutely. I mean, there were never hard feelings. Everything was great. But me wanting to be in town because that is where
and
my
your friends are there. Yeah,
all my friends. And funny story that I can probably bring up later. But anyway, so I didn't really want to go back out there, which posed a problem because you love your dad and you want to go do that, but at the same time, your friends are in a neighborhood. You're staying the night and things like that.
You're seeing them at school and they all talking about being in each other's houses and we went and did this and
that. It's tough. Yeah, so
I get it.
You do that and then, come junior year, I lose my dad.
Oh, wow.
Dad passes away.
That was around your junior year?
Yeah. So, things took a turn there.
Well, because you're at that age where you're mature enough to understand what's happening. It's not like that kind of event takes place when you're super young and it doesn't have that much of effect. I mean, you're budding, like going through puberty kind of.
Yeah. You're doing a lot of things. And then, so he passes and I turn to a demon.
I was gonna say, how'd you handle
demon
that,
is the new term now.
Yeah.
Turn to a demon, but just self-destructive.
Well, because how do you handle that at that age, man? You don't have any experience to handle serious situations like that. I mean, I gotta think that kind of life change causes you to act out, man.
Well, you don't know that then.
Yeah.
Right? So
you thought you were behaving normally even after that.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
There is not. I'm not.
But like
I'm not writing music.
Yeah.
Like these children are. Like he took my PlayStation away. Kill people. F this. F that. You know what I mean? Like things weren't normal, obviously, but the next day comes. So you just continue life, but you don't realize until you're my age or
I was gonna say,
obviously
like,
younger.
It probably hit a little later on.
I was a maniac.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you said, you don't realize what you're doing, but something so serious in life. I mean, I couldn't even imagine, man. Me and my real dad haven't talked. I think that's why me and you relate a lot. But I didn't have that situation where he is no longer available.
Just not there.
Yeah. So at that age,
when you start needing him, you don't need him at 10.
Because you
Or
don't
feel
realize
like you need him at
everything
10.
prior to that is normal life.
Right.
You have him, and then boom, everything changes.
Right, it's gone.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
No, it's
so what you just kind of became a wild child.
Yeah. So you get out of sports and you get into just everything that presents itself. You know.
But you didn't even realize you were making quote unquote bad decisions at the time. It's just following. It's just I am not happy. I'm angry. I'm gonna do this or do that. It wasn't a 100%. Conscious decision to be bad.
Right. Wow. No, absolutely. No, I cannot tell you that I was out there maliciously doing bad things.
Right.
I was just doing what I wanted.
But you made it through high school. Yeah.
Made it through high school.
Barely
barely.
Really?
Yeah, very. I mean, like skin of my teeth.
Wow.
Yeah, not grades, just my activities.
Getting in trouble.
Yeah. They were on to me.
Did they give you any kind of cushion?
No, absolutely. They let me graduate. Let's just say some events happened right at the very end.
Good. Well, props to them.
Well, so like I had basically had graduated. I was taking electives. It was a wrap senior year, and I mean I was going and volunteering at the elementary.
Doing what you had to do to get there.
I mean, like it was just I didn't have another course.
Yeah.
And I got in some trouble, and on campus, and they were like, "We're gonna let you leave with this piece of paper."
Yeah.
So kudos to them. They
I was gonna
the
say
situation.
that's what I hate about blanket policies, man. Sometimes situations are different, and when you're dealing with a teenager whose brain hasn't even had a chance to fully develop or handle these type situations that most people can't even imagine. Man, good for them for at least giving you a little bit of lead.
Shout out, in high school. I think my mom had a little play in that. I think she kind of went in there in the discussion or whatever you want to call that and say, hey, you know, he's a good kid, but he's not there. He's not making good choices. I mean, look, his grades reflect that he's passed.
Yeah.
So
you know, shout out. What happened after high school? Did you further?
Went straight to college.
Okay.
Yeah. Went to a little self-evaluation there, and then realized that there's no reason for me to go out of town.
Yeah. Because
we know what happens there.
Absolutely.
You probably tested that. I stayed at LSUS. I went to Bipsy for a little bit, you know, and fooled around and.
Well, it's good though.
Didn't accomplish a whole lot.
You took a different route. You got your foot in the door, and you kind of started heading in a more prosperous direction, per se.
100%. Well, better.
Did you realize it? Did you realize like I'm screwing up? I need to make changes.
There was some self-evaluation.
Okay.
And I knew that I mean, I could have. My grades weren't bad enough to where I could have went to LSU, right?
Yeah.
I could have went to Northwestern, but I just knew not to leave. Yeah. I just knew that or maybe I was afraid to for whatever circumstance, but Bipsy was the starter, and then I went to LSUS.
Okay, because let me tell you, on that point, I know a lot of people where I grew up from that the parents took that sheltered approach. I don't want my kid to experience anything that's going on in the world out there that's all satanic, terrible stuff, which it may be, and it probably is.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I wanted to change with the kid I'm raising.
Okay.
I do want him to expose him to what he's going to face out there in the real world.
It's going to be a lot.
Yeah, and I want him to be prepared for that. I don't think the whole sheltering thing is successful, man. I think you need to give kids the shock of what's going to be out there and teach them right from wrong, how do you handle these situations, etc. But keeping them just covered from all the stuff they're going to eventually face on their own without you, I just think that's a little dangerous.
It's tough. I don't know about pushing them into it, but LSUS was a good school. It's a hard school.
It was
I don't
a
know
tough
that anybody knows that. There are several people that I know personally that went to Baton Rouge.
Yep.
And they would come for summer school, and they'd be like, "Hey, bro, why are you here? This is tough." Look, the teachers there have something to prove.
Yeah.
To Baton Rouge. It's a real thing.
Well, people
I
look
don't
at
know
that as
how
a
it-
secondary thing, and they're trying to make their name for themselves. But I can personally attest to that. I went to LSU. In the same similar situation with you, realized that I was really messing up. I went from Dry Creek, Louisiana, population nothing, to Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And I discovered that there's a lot of stuff that I could, get into that I've never experienced before. Wasn't a good thing. So, like you, Dylan Fadley, I realized, man, I don't know what I should be doing or what path I should be taking, but this doesn't feel right. So I transferred to Northwest State, finished, graduated there.
Yeah.
Then decided to move up here. I got a job in banking. My employer was actually like, hey, we'll pay you to go ahead and get your master's. Like, we want you educated, which was awesome.
Yeah.
I said, done, because now I'm a super mature dude and I'm going to actually focus on my studies. And I step into their major program, and dude, it is difficult.
They are not nice. It's a real thing.
It isn't a cakewalk.
No.
You ain't missing classes.
No.
Hey,
No.
you miss one class, you done for.
Might as well call it.
Because I went that whole nighttime thing. Like, I'd get off work, 4:35, go straight to class at 6. Wasn't no playing around, man.
No. Like I said, Shreveport has a lot to. They just want to make sure that
They're on par.
Yeah. And they're overshooting.
Yeah. Well, props to LSU West, man. I got to give a shout out. Like, they've had a lot. They had a lot of valuable classes I took.
They're teaching you something.
Yeah, in my major.
You're not getting out of there without learning something.
But they had like a legitimate business guy running the business department, and people that have real world experience.
Yep.
It was valuable.
I agree. There's a lot of teachers that had some impacts on me.
Well, but after college, like, what'd you get in? I mean, you're in what? You're in oil and gas now.
So after graduating, went to bartended during college, and then
you went to that bartender field.
Yeah, it's good, but at the same time, I don't know that it helped my self-destructive.
Help that social life a little bit, huh?
I mean, come on. I went to State Farm.
Oh,
yeah.
Dabbled in insurance.
Went to insurance. And look, shout out Lambright.
Michael Lambright.
He
Shelter Insurance.
Yep, sat over there for a little while too. Really good spot, man. Insurance is a really good gig. And
it is. It is.
Let me say this. And this might be a plug, but some of these people, some of these friends. I mean, I know people that I know personally don't have life insurance. Get out of here, man. It's crazy. I mean,
especially
I know the game.
Especially if you have a family,
and I hate it. Insurance is like you pay a ton of money, and then depending on the company, right? Look, you go get Geico to save $8. They are not paying for your shit. They are going to fight you tooth and nail.
It's going to be pulling teeth to try and get whatever incident you got in covered.
Oh my god. It's ridiculous.
So having that hometown.
Look, if you want, you get what you pay for with insurance. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been with shelter.
So many people chase the cheapest price.
Right, and I get it. Some situations they have to be that, but look, I'm telling you, I've been with shelter since I've needed insurance, and those guys, if something happens, I call Michael, and I have a check. Yeah, it's like it's no
process.
No. Look, man, I had a guy come through and he was like, this happened, an event happened. He goes, hey, man, I also see this happen too. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize that. He goes, well, we need to cover that too. Yeah. That's amazing to me.
No, and there aren't
like
many companies that are doing
plug.
Lambright.
I'm serious. They've taken care of me. And, I got a guy at my work, and we're getting off course, but, he had Geico or some BS, and, he damn near had to move out of his house.
I was going to say, house situations, hail damage, fire, whatever.
Yeah.
You got an insurance company that's fighting you.
Right. You have to fight them over the insurance. You've been paying them for 3 years.
Over just getting your money.
I don't know what happened.
Right.
This happened, though. It's on fire. Well, and they're like, well, were
insurance
you sitting there with a lighter? I mean, like,
I know. Insurance is just one of those weird product services where it's something you pay for, but you don't necessarily see what it's doing until that time comes.
You gotta have insurance.
And then you're like, thank God I got a Michael Lambright.
You got that answer.
Benton Road. Go see him, people.
Okay. Anyway.
So,
I worked at State Farm. They're a JMO company too, man.
Yeah.
But left there, and look, this is the reason why I left. And I guess I need to back up a little bit. But
this is after college. This is after you.
So I didn't even, my senior year, my friends were a couple of them that I was really close with were Halliburton Frac. Man, I don't know, and I want to say 80. They were making like $80,000.
$80,000 getting out of high school.
I'm like, what? Let's get money.
No debt.
And so I told
just
my
80
mom,
grand.
I'm like, I'm
free
quitting
cash.
college. I'm quitting college. I ain't got time for college.
What your mom
I'm
say?
paying these people.
Your mom said, hell no.
Bro. Come on. She was like, bet. So, I finished.
But did you?
Yeah. Graduated. Business degree. But did the insurance thing, and, they don't pay anything when you're just getting started.
Especially when you're in kind of that apprenticeship stage.
I was in sales. I mean, I'd graduated. I had taken the test. You know what I mean? I'd passed them, but I couldn't help it. I started applying at all these oil field companies.
Well, you're seeing your friends
making
bank, driving new cars, and you're like, whoa.
Look, just you can't hide that from me. I'm chasing it too. You know what I mean? I'm not sitting on the sidelines.
So you decided, I'm jumping into this. Look, now, the company you work for now, is that what you first got into, or did you start?
No. I'll get into that.
Okay.
I put together a resume, and what's funny is, at that point, 20-something years old, 22, I think. I'm bad with timelines, but my resume and my appearance, 22-year-old boy, man, I just not a old-looking fella.
Right. You got baby face, for sure.
Right. So, I'd go hand out all these, coal companies, Wireline, you name it, man. I was trying to get in, and just no callbacks. And it could have been a downturn. I don't remember the year. Yeah. But I ran into a guy at a bar, Kenny Bahi.
Oh my God, I know Kenny
Shout
Bahi.
out.
We're Facebook friends.
You might see this.
I love that this story begins with a dude I met at the bar.
Look, first oilfield gig. I am sitting there. I'm sitting beside him. I'm not sure how or why. I'm bitching about how you screw around and put out a resume that says you went to college and nobody wants to hire you in the oil field because you can't swing a hammer or something. Whatever the case.
Because it's like starting off lower level position. That's probably what you apply.
It is what it is. Look, I'm down to do anything. And once I tell you what I got into, you'll know. It was torque and test. You don't know much about torque and test, but it is. It's a man. You can make a ton of money in it.
Yeah, but it's hard work.
But it is the work.
Yeah.
You're out there. These bolts, right? There's only 24 of them on a stack, and you got to undo 6 of those to get a stack off while you're underneath the operations that's going on top.
Yeah.
Mud, water, everything else.
You are the manual labor for
it's
that
bad, man.
site.
It's bad, and I hit it full force because it's a stepping stone.
It's paying money, too.
100%.
Yeah.
No, it's making
hey, you may die, but you're going to make some bank.
Absolutely. Right? So started there, jumped a couple times, but ended up at Emerald Surf Sciences. Emerald Surf Sciences has been my bread and butter. I've been there 12 years, really since they opened up the mix and plant business. I had a buddy, Blaine brought me over to where I was before Emerald Surf. But I ended up meeting a guy named Kevin, and he was like, "Hey, man, you want to, get him from the ground up?"
But you're in a managerial position with them now.
Now I am.
What did you
12 years later, right? You start at the bottom.
What exactly do y'all do? What is Emerald Surf?
Data acquisition, mixing plants. We support cool tubing drill outs and work over rig. So, for the most part, everyone knows what frac is. Probably that's listening. We come after.
Well, everybody in this area for sure.
Yeah. Everything after frac, we show up, and frac goes and fractures the earth and puts a plug in place. Right. We drill those plugs out to bring the well online to make all the
y'all got the chemicals, everything else that.
Yes.
Well,
we're basically running the chemicals.
So you're part of that oil and gas service industry. The thing, all the steps it takes for extraction completion.
Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Because I think a lot of people that aren't involved in it directly or married to someone that's involved with it, you know, they think oil field and they're like exactly kind of what you started off as, right? Like wearing the safety equipment, he's out there, you know, putting metal in the ground and things like that. And people don't realize oil and gas is such a massive industry when you have all the service and all the related.
It's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably 25 companies that touch it before it actually reaches the consumer.
That's insane.
And we're not messing with just gasoline and diesel, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we're making pencils, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People don't understand what petroleum products actually do.
Everything.
It touches
everything. And
all
even if you do
petroleum.
Even if you do find a product that maybe isn't that heavily petroleum based, it still took the petroleum to transport it to do all that.
100%.
It runs everything. But you know, that's another thing I wanted to ask about it, because in your industry, you have to face that, I hate to say it, that political environment threat. Maybe you get, you know, a president that is anti-oil and gas, or the environmentalist situation. Does that scare you guys?
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because government making policy, especially federal, can affect your livelihood.
100%.
Yeah.
We're It's not going away, though. Everybody wants to.
Y'all probably been battling this for a while.
The weak-minded, or the people that aren't knowledgeable, you know, oil and gas is not going anywhere.
No, and
it's got a long time.
But Dylan, it's in this day and age, we have so many people thinking with that emotion, that moral superiority, and they'll hear things about oil and gas, or we'll have, you know, only the news is only gonna translate the negative things, the BP oil spill, or whatever the case may be. That's what people hear about that aren't in the know, right? They don't recognize the insane advances that your industry has made far as cleaning it up and natural gas and horizontal drilling, the fracking. Everything is improved from even 5-10 years ago.
Nobody wants to keep up with that.
No.
But like,
everybody wants a story.
We're light years.
Oh, it's insane. It's a whole new industry at this point.
We've actually have a new service that is coming out, we're about 9 months in, and the potential of it replacing new drill, and what I mean by like just, you know, new holes in the earth. It has some merit, you know, because we're actually
heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. So this is an experimental thing that could even further improve safety, environmental, all those things.
It's definitely not experimental. We're doing it.
Oh, it's happening.
And there's other companies that are trying.
Okay.
But what we're able to do is we can take some old wells that aren't producing anymore and turn them back
reactivate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which means that you're not just having to go new hole.
Right.
You can actually start making use of pre-existing.
100%.
Wow.
Yeah. No, it's good.
Okay. Well, hopefully the people that are anti-oil and gas will take that topic and be like, look at those guys making improvements.
Wow. You wouldn't believe the amount of policy that we have against us that we have to do that.
Well, I've seen y'all's safety regulations, things like that. It's pretty insane. But to the people that don't know this industry at all, like, I'm not claiming to know it that much, but I do know how serious safety, environmental concerns, all that stuff is taken. Like, people are out there, you have people out there thinking like they're just messing up the earth and they don't care and da-da-da. You could not be more wrong. The innovation towards environmentalism, safety, all that stuff that has happened in oil and gas over the past 10 years, it's a whole new reality.
Listen, man, I spent a week we have a spill. And when I mean a spill, I mean less than what we do a fish fry here.
Yeah,
we dump
less than that on the ground. So
I got a week worth of safety concerns.
Yeah.
So it's a real thing. You know, we're way ahead of it. The oil and gas industry is way ahead of what people assume.
Yeah.
On safety.
Well, that's
and
the point.
Environmental.
That's the point. But you know, today's world, man, a lot of people gonna talk about shit that they really don't understand. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to discuss this topic with you.
Yeah.
It's because you have that direct access and you know what's really going on. I want people to watch this and be like, man, that guy seems intelligent. He's got his college degree. He's not just some hick redneck. And you were in the know on everything that y'all are improving, man. Going back and drilling, that was never a thing in the past. Being able to have access to pre-drilled wells or you know, older wells.
Yeah, no, it's going to be...
y'all making moves.
The whole industry itself is always making moves.
Yeah.
Those are just the ones that you don't hit the headlines. That's all.
Right. But your company and the other oil and gas companies, they are taking this whole environmentalism, safety, all this kind of stuff
The
seriously.
ones that don't improve and innovate die.
Yeah.
Facts.
That's
why we do so well.
I think that can be a general statement. You know, with any market, any
market.
industry.
Look,
you
even
don't
personally,
innovate, you personally too. More important.
Yeah, you have to.
Back in my day.
Right.
And
it's never gonna
look,
survive.
man,
Never gonna
innovate or die.
Yeah.
Innovate or die. I think that's a very important part because we're talking about it in your industry, but it also relates to life personally as well.
I agree.
Let me ask you this. So along with your work, all these, you know, things you're dealing with your job and all kinds of that, you have a bunch of stresses in life, but pretty recently you got two new little stresses in your life. Two little baby girls.
Man. Two little blessings.
And they're how old now?
A year and a half. Give or take.
But a year and a half still feels pretty new up there.
Brand new.
Yeah.
Brand
but
new.
What's funny is Dylan was like myself as far as this fatherhood situation. None of it was planned. Life was kind of following this predictable pattern. We had our social life groove, our work groove, career groove, relationship groove. Then it's like, boom. But for you, God said boom, but he also said, and you having two twin baby girls. So good luck, Dylan.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. And I will elaborate on that. So I you know, through the dad thing, man, there was a lot of, you know,
you can't be prepared for it. I know that much.
Well, you don't know the turmoil of like losing a father. And the reason why I'm drawing back to that is like there was a lot of self-destructive behavior all the way up until, man, I mean, I'm older now, and
it's still,
I'm gonna say that I am in charge of it now over the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Before then, I would do things and say things and sabotage
even your own life.
Everything.
Yeah.
Jobs, relationships, I mean, you name it, man. I've just, it all, you know, I've just now been able to process.
Right. But you're looking at your two beautiful little girls
now,
and you're thinking,
you know, now
I can't ever let them experience.
Oh, no, right? But I just mean, you know, where I was getting at with that is I don't, it was always my plan to wait to have children. I mean, like, from way out. Mom, you know, God bless her. I mean, you know, she is my staple, my rock. And, you know, she always was like, don't do
that. Same.
Don't do that. Don't run at 22. Don't run at 25. Like, Dylan, experience some life before you decide to bring new life in here. And I did that.
That's all a great game plan and all, right?
Well, you were really bad at it, right? Yeah. You know, you didn't listen. You were.
Well, I did.
No,
super late 20s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, all since 10.
Yeah. Do the math.
What are you, 100?
Okay. Why is everybody bringing up my age on this show, man?
Okay, well, fine. He's 10.
So like 28, 29.
Okay, that's not that bad. I mean,
I
know people that have like, you know, you screwing around with 22 and 23.
My mother had me at 17 or 18.
I know, man. Like, what were they thinking? They didn't have anything to do, really.
But that's the
biggest thing.
I was the same way. I was like, I'm gonna have kids on my time.
I was raised, man. Don't screw around.
And it's probably good advice, right?
100%.
But the issue with life in general is that the minute you think you got stuff planned out, some gonna hit that is gonna change those plans. For me, it was that. I was still like, I ain't ready for kids. That's gonna be several years down the road. I got that phone call. Boom, I'm pregnant.
Yep.
I think that to me, it felt like a 2-hour silence after hearing that news, but I'm sure it was only like 5 seconds. But all these questions start hitting you. Well, wait, what? What am I gonna do? Is this?
Yeah.
I had stupid questions. I'm like, is it my kid? Like, I'm thinking bizarre scenarios.
Right.
Like the reality was not setting in for me.
Yeah. For me, I had planned for it.
Really? So, but not twins.
Okay. Let me get into that.
Right.
Before then, I realized, pissing money away. I did a lot of that for a little while. But I realized that saving some was a good idea, so I did really well at that. And then, you live in a townhouse. I lived in a townhouse, and the rent was cheap, and I always had a buddy to live with me, so we split it. And
roommates make a big difference.
A couple $100, bro. We were living in a high cotton. But so I was good about saving money, and so when Lauren and I we talked about getting pregnant, and not a problem.
But is planning it and actually hearing seeing a positive pregnancy test, it kind of changes, right? You're like, oh,
I'm pregnant.
Wait, what?
I mean, that's awesome. And then an hour later, when you get to have some time,
the reality sets in. Wait a second.
All right, that means there's a child.
Wait, I'm producing a human?
We go into the doctor's office. Nobody knows. We're just going to make sure baby's good.
Oh, y'all didn't even know? There wasn't a pregnancy test or anything like that? Y'all went in there not knowing that she was pregnant?
No, we knew she was pregnant.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
We're pregnant. We're all good. We're going in there to make sure we're all good.
Routine.
Yeah, I don't know. The nurse or whoever that nice lady is says, hey, she's doing her thing on the belly.
You thinking you got one little boy or girl
about to say what's up? I'm checking emails like I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? I'm just making sure.
What kid ain't she?
Man, this lady turned around and goes, Lauren, and looked all weird. And my first instinct was like, what is wrong? I was scared.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, I get it.
Lady,
tell us.
Yeah. She was like, hey, have you talked to the doctor? She was like, well, no, what? There's two. There's two.
Boy, girl, or? Nope.
Me and Lauren looked at each other, and I didn't have any words. I was like, I did not save enough money. So, there's two.
Right. Like, surprise, we're not hitting you with one new little thing in life. You got double.
Yeah. Yes.
And they probably feed off each other, right?
Like, well, I mean, look, man, me and Lauren were like, I looked at her, she looked at me.
I bet y'all were shocked.
Oh.
Just like
the transition at the time, man. You just roll though. It's the next day.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, how did people respond to the news of actual twins? Like, were you talking to people and they're like, "Congrats, Dylan, you're gonna be so good, you'll handle it fine," or were people like, "Man, you're screwed. It's over."
There was a lot of negative.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of negative. It really brought us down.
Really?
Yep. It really did. Especially
and the ironic thing about that is the majority of people that were probably telling you that the parents dealt with one.
They only dealt with one.
Yeah.
They really Lauren would always like come to me and she just was down.
Well, it creates self-doubt hearing that from people that have experience.
100%. So goes out to everybody. You know, when you hear somebody have twins, you know, be uplifting about it because it was tough on us. We were look, all of the doubt. We were worried about it. And Jesus, it was good advice because it's just hard.
I'm sorry. It is hard. No.
Excuse my language there. It's tough, man.
It is.
It is. Look, we have two beautiful babies, Meredith Grace and Dylan Avery. And Dylan Avery's a little behind, but man,
she's a little behind development-wise.
Yes.
Yeah.
But man, I think she's gonna pull through.
Not only that, but man, just the way that you as a father and Lauren, y'all have handled that situation with her, especially. Like, I never got the vibe that y'all were treating her different or anything else. I mean,
if anything, you know, sometimes I'm like, do not pick her up.
Yeah.
You know, she's crying for just because, and you can't help it. You know, when you have a child that's, I mean, Meredith's, you know, dang.
Probably ahead of schedule. Huh?
Doing hopscotch. You know what I mean? She's taking things. I'm like, handing her stuff, taking the trash. I mean, you know, there's no reason a 1.5-year-old should be able to do that, I don't think. But, you know what's funny is a lot of people are like, oh, what do you think it's going to be? And I knew. I was like, well, God has anything to do with it. It's 2 girls. And they're like, why do you think that? I was like, because of me. You know, it's called karma.
I was going to say, it's your karma. Let's be honest here. Let's get it out in the open. You got a little payback.
I have a little bit of a past. and I'll be 100% there. Is, you know, a lot of that was probably just being self-destructive.
Yeah.
In my younger years.
With some pretty serious shit.
I mean, you know, look, not only did Dad pass away, but we had several friends pass away too in those times that, you know, normal people usually deal with, right?
Yeah.
But you deal with grandparents passing away, and just, you know, it's a ton, man. And I was a maniac from probably 20 to 30, and everybody in that wake that probably had really good intentions, and this goes with relationships with women and girls. You know, just didn't get the best of me.
Right.
I was, you know, that was a bad deal. But a lot of friends, I made a lot of friends during it, and they were, you know, shout out Wesley Rhodes and Josh Burrows and Blaine Wizen, all those guys. You know, the list could go on.
Well, but isn't that
like,
the important part about having real friends?
I think so.
You know, we've talked about that before.
You have a lot of Facebook. Facebook is, you know, but there's just a lot of back then that is probably the only reason I survived all of that, man. Because when I say self-destructive, I mean like, man, we were doing some. I was doing some wild things. I was putting my life in jeopardy.
You and I have had conversations, but there are events that we've told stories about in our past that, honestly, it's pretty amazing or lucky, if you want to say that we're even still here. Man.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and I regret that.
I know.
It shaped me.
It did shape you, though.
But
that's
like,
the other side of it.
There were some times that there were people involved that I put their lives in jeopardy with me.
Yeah, same.
You know, I was reckless. But with these 2 girls, you know, it's funny. People go, oh, man, when you have a family, it changes your life. I'm like, you know,
isn't that the most cliche ever?
Wow.
But it's true.
These little girls, man, I mean, look. It's not going to be a couple of years. I'm going to be screaming at people in my front yard, slow the F down.
Well, we're going to...
Shout out Woodlake South. Y'all keep driving like that.
Dylan going to get y'all.
I ain't playing.
But
I'm menace. I'm still a menace.
Hey, we still got that old school. And honest to God, when the girls grow up, being their official uncle and all, I do kind of want to pull the Bad Boys, Will Smith, Martin Lawrence thing where we meeting the dude at the door with guns, we fresh out of jail. I need terror in the eyes of whoever your girls date.
It's just not good. That's just a scary.
You don't even want to think about that.
I'm not going there yet, man. I mean, like, it's not good.
I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. You know, Austin's in.
It's how you raise them.
It is.
But man.
And I don't have any concern with.
They can still be tricked.
I don't know. Well, there's a lot of dirty dogs out there like yourself.
Well,
at that age.
No, I mean, you
I'm sure you were
Moving
a
on.
sly little
Moving
bastard.
on. Moving on.
You know. Anyway, me and Dylan gonna handle any future boyfriend of Meredith or DA. I would be scared if I were y'all, so you better respect.
I just know all the tricks, so it's gonna be hard for you.
Yeah, but that's the way it should be. Cause I think about that all the time, man. It's got to be tough with girls, and you still got a long way to go. You good, but we pulling out all the stops.
To gain.
I was gonna say we pulling out all the stops when it comes to dating.
By then, steroids should be legal. I'm coming for y'all.
But isn't it funny? You hear that as a budding adult all the time. Well, you just don't understand until you have kids of your own. I remember like rolling my eyes at people so much growing up.
Listen, I didn't like kids.
Me either. I was not
all
wanting to have them
having
at
kids.
the time.
They're like, oh, my kid.
Scared of it.
And now, I'm like, let me hold.
Did you ever really even know love until you lay eyes on the human that you created?
Rough, man.
It's bizarre.
It's a.
Bro, I do creepy.
I don't know how to describe it.
I do creepy shit. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and Austin maybe, sleeping with us or something, and I literally look at him and just sit there and admire him, and then I realize like I'm staring at a lifeless sleeping kid. And that's creepy as shit. But it's the love, bro. It's just something that's not anything you've experienced before.
I don't think you know it until you're a parent. And, I didn't know it. I was so late. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I was way late to having babies compared to all my friends.
Sure.
And they would talk about it. And you just don't really.
Yeah, you're like, whatever.
Whatever, bro.
Yeah, I'm going to go out to the bar tonight. You have fun.
Hey, I got an idea. Shut up. But now, it's funny is I went to, after having my little girls, I had to go to a Dallas game with some customers.
What, football game?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they brought, one of the engineers brought the little baby, and
Who that?
I honestly, I felt like I was like, kind of hold your baby.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like,
and the you of
like
2 years ago would have been like, ew.
Please. I cannot believe you brought a baby.
That is
hilarious. I mean, let me be 100%.
It's so true.
I would be that way. I'd be like, it's kind of a wrong event to bring a baby. I mean, look, they had the headphones on and everything. I loved it.
Well, you fully enveloped. You got the dad vibe now, right?
This is no shit. This is funny. And I don't know if Brendan. I don't know if he'll see this. I don't know if we're Facebook friends or if he even has Facebook. But he had it was a little baby girl, and I was like, and so now I'm like
sold. Like I'm the baby whisperer.
Right.
I'm the man.
Yeah, I mean Jesus Christ, babies love me. I mean, like I was built for this.
And this is the same dude that 3 years ago was like, I ain't never having kids.
Not doing babies. Look, Brendan's like, hey, no. Bring me my baby.
Yeah.
Do not hang out with
Too much connection going on here.
I don't think so. It was anyway, that was funny.
I love that. But point being, like, how that does change you.
Oh, it does.
Like, it's a whole different realm that you've never experienced that you step into.
Hey, good story. I'm a 88-year-old lady, or turning into one. Circle K. I'm in there buying a energy drink.
Okay.
Get my day started.
Okay.
Didn't have coffee at the house. Young kid. I don't know. I can't call them.
You're bad with ages.
They're either 20 or they're 40. I don't know, man. I mean, like these younger guys. Anyway, he brings in a baby, no socks.
The baby didn't have socks, or
baby didn't have socks. Baby had pants and a shirt, and I'm talking about like minimal. Looked like they should be dressed in a house. But it's
Don't
20.
Tell me.
I yelled at him.
Oh God!
I yelled at him. I was like, "Hey, man!"
As an experienced father,
hey,
the fact that you don't have socks on that child's feet at this temperature.
Mad.
Oh my God! You're a madman.
I pulled a Karen.
You were
Karen.
Oh my God! You were like a Kyle in Circle K getting an energy drink. Why you might as well just punch holes in the drywall at that point.
100%.
I love that.
I was like, put some clothes on that baby. He was like, oh, we're just running in here real quick. I was like, I'm freezing. I just ran in here.
Yeah. See.
Anyway, and then as I was like putting out that last little message, I was like, I need to back up.
Well, because having the first one to dealing with the second child.
I need to back up here and mind my business.
Yeah.
That's what men are good at.
Yeah.
That's why that's why there's no Karens.
But I love that you had that instinct. Like,
bro,
that's hilarious.
Hey, let me be dead honest. It was fucking 20 out. Sorry. It was cold.
It was freezing.
And
baby needed to stay in the car, get some socks.
Hey, leave the baby in the car.
Right? That's what I was thinking.
Why bring the baby out to get your Newports or whatever, bro? I don't want to speculate, but hey, man.
Father Dylan, ladies and gentlemen.
The baby looked cold.
The baby probably did look cold. But
moving on.
I want to talk about that transition a little bit because, like we talked about, it's a sudden change from even if you're planning it the least little bit. When that baby hits, you're like, "Oh my God, there's a human, and I created that." So, what with life, especially like socially? I mean, the things you had time for socially. What's the social life like now? I mean, it has to take a back seat, right? You got a mortgage to pay. You got double diaper duties. You know.
It is. It's a great thing about that is I got a plan for it. So, like.
And you're always working towards that.
Yeah. But socially, yeah, man, it's completely different.
Well, it falls down the totem pole of importance.
Whatever I went from.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm doing this today.
I can't.
I cannot.
I mean, we had to make arrangements just to do the podcast. You know, 100%. Shout out to Lauren and Stephanie Prother right now handling the girls while we do this.
Yep.
We love y'all.
They, man, it's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
That I'm willing to do.
But it's not something you think about and be like, man, I don't want to, but I have to do this because it's just natural at this point.
Let me tell you this. You know what
I'm gonna do the right thing.
You know where it like shines. It's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice, kind of like when I did torque and test.
When you did what?
Torque and test.
Oh, back in the work days. Yeah.
Like that was something that I did not want to do, but there was a means to an end.
Yeah.
And it's the same
thing. It had purpose.
These babies, look, we're just getting the hang of it. They're a year and a half ish, and they're just now starting to sleep. They'll give us 6-7 hours. But that amazing. Just happened. That just happened 2 weeks ago. And listen, I was out of town. I had some friends invite me on a goose hunt, and I've really never been. And to be that honest, I don't have the drive, and I think it comes from after my dad passed away. I just don't. That was our thing, and then I never really. Right. I like to be a part of the camaraderie of all of the men.
Sure.
Around the fire, around and that. But like
that aspect,
the drive to kill something, I just don't have it. And then when some old friends gave me the invite, I jumped on it, and I'm telling you, I'm pumped up about it.
Well, because you do have to have those outlets, right?
100%.
It can't just all be baby grind for you or mom or anybody.
So Lauren is like, do it. I'm like, what? And she's like,
sorry, say less.
Yeah, like. So I did it. That's when on the way back I got COVID, but it rejuvenated something in me, and I'm really happy about it. But Lauren at that point, she had help with her mom, but was able to get enough schedule with them to where I mean, we're just telling them, we hand them bottles at the 7 p.m. mark, and she's like, all right, well, we're gonna do this is what she told me, and I thought it was like mystic bullshit. I was like, she's like, what we're gonna do is we tell them it's night night. I was like, okay, we're gonna tell these babies it's night night. After what I've been dealing with for a year and a half, all right, I'll give this 6 minutes, bro. Tell them it's night-night.
It worked.
We put these babies in bed, and they go to sleep. And they don't wake up till 5 a.m. I'm like,
Lord.
fluke.
And
3 nights running, 4 nights running, here we are, and like Lauren has somehow got these girls. I don't know. Look, all I'm saying is shout out to her.
Lauren Fairley. But
or it's just,
getting them in somewhat of a routine or pattern
twins,
versus
man.
the
Always
on standby when they gonna start crying, I don't know, 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
Gives me anxiety. I don't sleep. You know what I mean?
But you still have to maintain life despite
year.
that.
Right. You know, I'm managing 40 men.
You know, what's funny is we were talking about the hunting trip, and recently Dylan and I had this plan. He's been on the grind with the babies. You know, we hadn't really got to do a bro thing in a long time, and I decided, like, hey, do you think we can make, like, LSU Florida football game work? And we kind of, nudged it in there just to test the waters. And similar thing, we got y'all should do that response. And we were like, what?
Yeah.
So we did it. We put everything together. But Dylan and I talked prior to this trip. We decided this is our one shining opportunity. We are going to do it all right. You know, we're not going to leave and go down for the whole weekend. We're going to, even though it was an early game Saturday, we left early Saturday morning. Probably, 4 or 5 a.m.?
Yeah.
Super early. We're going to be responsible. We're going to keep in contact with the girls. Do all the right things. And I kind of feel like we did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
We go see an amazing game. We get some early tailgating with friends in. Great time. We see LSU defeat Florida, which at the time Florida was ranked way above them.
Yeah.
We're having a great time in the stands, cheering, all that. We even get a little post game in. We're back at the hotel. We Ubered, did all the right things. We're back at the hotel, 10:30, 11?
Yep.
Maximum?
Yep.
Then what happened? We wake up the next morning and what happened?
You don't have your keys. You don't have your keys to your vehicle.
So what had happened was, it was one of those typical Louisiana temperature days where it was super hot and drops to like -40 at night. So I had the change of clothes on. I had the hoodie, man, and somehow the key falls out of the pocket of the hoodie. So we go to get in the truck to head home, done everything perfect. Everybody's happy.
Alcohol doesn't have any play in that.
And I mean, we were a little hungover, but we didn't go super overboard.
I mean, alcohol didn't have any play in that.
There we go. It's the right phrase. So you go to
you lost your keys,
vehicle and it's not there.
Right,
so
we were looking.
We did. We had a slight delay getting home. Steph didn't talk to me for 2 or 3 days. It was fine. But the point is, Dylan, we were so close to doing all of that correctly.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So maybe the trips are out now, but the stuff we do for social life, the back portion, the sitting by the fire at Dylan Fadley's new house. They have a gorgeous swimming pool with the little fire pit and everything, and we will rally around that. But that is more what social life is becoming, is that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because there's way too much to deal with trips and all that kind of other stuff.
No, 100%. Look, it's a blessing that you guys, look, Lane and Emily, and there's a lot of people that just come over, and once we put the girls down, kind of deal with it, and if they don't go down,
once the girls down, you can kind of return to like our early form,
Right. No, have some beers and cut up, but at this age anyway, you're not just out on the gas anymore.
Can't, man. You got responsibilities, and I want to be able to function. I have to perform at work.
Right.
It's not
just is what it is.
It is what it is. But point of that being, on those campfire nights and stuff, having a few brews, sitting around the campfires, after you've been friends for so many years, man, all the kind of fake fluff stuff falls off, and you start getting into the real conversations, and that is where me and Dylan Fadley shine, is drinking a few beers, late at night, sitting around the campfire. There are some pretty bizarre discussions that come up. Am I right? I mean, we talk about some weird shit.
Yelling at each other.
We do yell at each other. We dive into rabbit holes, conspiracy. See, Dylan is my one rabbit hole friend. He will take any situation, he will research it. He will find the YouTube videos, the whatevers, and he will follow that rabbit hole to the depths of something you've never witnessed before.
I mean, I don't know if it's that bad. Look,
some of them are that bad.
This is the deal. I am open-minded.
True.
I went from working in the field as a field tech, and then supervisor, and then sales, right?
You've made the journey.
Right. And after sales, there is management. They offered me the position. I took it. And you have to be able to listen when you're in management. If you don't, you'll fail.
Well, that's why I love you, because despite some of the crazy shit that you do explore, in my opinion, I am happy to have that friend that is open-minded enough to explore any possibility. And
everything.
Like I said, Dylan's my friend that challenges me on a lot of stuff. Sometimes you gotta hand it to him. The dude makes a good point, no matter how crazy it sounds. I mean, so one of the recent hot topic rabbit holes that you've been down is this whole moon landing thing, which I never gave two thoughts about until you brought it up to me. But according to you, there's significant amount of evidence out there that it may be staged.
Look it up.
Well, tell us about it.
Look it up. I mean, look, I don't know enough about it.
You're not saying it was or wasn't. You're saying
absolutely
there's some questions.
There's a lot of disclaimers that I will put out. And you know as well as I do, look, man, me and you get into conversations, I will say,
we will be devil's advocate.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't ever run out there and go, hey, man, this is facts.
Right. Well, that's what's good about us. Sometimes me and Dylan fully agree on something, but if he's telling to me, I'm going to challenge it even if I do agree with him, just so we can further the in-depthness.
Why have we never been back to the moon? No.
It's a good question. We went to the moon.
No, never. We went.
Buzz Aldrin's, Neil Armstrong, that was fake too? Or we just went that one time?
Well,
we
gathered some rocks the first time. Other than that, we've never.
We have not been back since then, right?
No.
As a country.
It's like 1980 something.
No, that was way earlier than that.
I have to go back and look at my conspiracy theories folder. But I'm trying to tell you is that if you look up, have we been to the moon? There are more videos damning that than there are that we went.
But you have to give context. Right?
And listen.
You have to give context.
Well, there's one video. They're basically saying they've lost the technology to do that. These are scientists.
Well, we've got Elon Musk. We've got
no. But we've lost
Virgin
the
Richard dude or whatever. But I mean, not moon landings, but they are going into orbit.
There are people that are saying on camera that we've lost the technology to get back up there. Where? What happened?
Well, here's what I'll say.
Accidentally.
This actually supports your questions.
It should.
You have to remember the context of this time.
Well,
there is a race between us and the Soviet Union
back then.
Who's better? Mm-hmm. Who's the top-notch country? Mm-hmm. So there's a space race, right? I mean, that's the whole reason.
Right.
But I mean, my
political.
Everything.
Here we are.
The whole reason for everything.
Here we are.
Political.
For everything everything we do is political.
I mean, the only counter, and I don't know, I haven't researched this enough. Counter? My only counters are that it's got to be. I mean, you've seen the failed missions. It's got to be pretty expensive, especially when the government is
that matters in your eyes,
right? But think about the scientists and just the volume of people involved in the moon landing. Right. They all have to be on the same page and keep their mouth shut. That's a lot of people to keep a secret. 100%. That's without researching it. That's the only two counters I can come up with.
Right. Let me say this.
Oh shit. I'm here to listen.
Here I am.
Okay.
If I give you $1 million,
am I gonna shut my mouth?
Your ass up.
Yeah, I am.
What you gonna do? Hey, what do you no?
No, I'm gonna probably be quiet, man.
Yeah, you're gonna be like,
well,
you're like, which finger you want to cut off for like fun?
I'm gonna say this.
$1 million.
I feel like most anyone on this earth,
10 million
99.9% of people would be quiet. I tend to sabotage myself even when it's financially beneficial.
All I'm saying is look, the moon is one thing. It's just.
But you do believe that SpaceX, Elon, and Virgin and all that, like that's been into orbit. You do believe that? That's
what?
private companies. That
What?
ain't government.
They've been into what?
Space.
No,
Orbit.
they haven't been in space.
They have.
No, they're like touching
They're getting on the outskirts, but it is
Right.
technically space. Like they can
Okay,
see
fine.
Earth.
Yeah, space.
But that's private companies. Like they don't have any reason to.
Shouldn't have any reason to lie.
Oh Lord. Well,
Why don't they go to the moon?
and I think we should all look. The beauty of this is
They should go to the moon.
When Dylan comes to me with things like this, I can't dismiss it. I have to be like, okay, well, I'm going to take my preconceived notions and what I've always been taught and thought.
All right.
And let me
All
take
I'm
his
saying
perspective and
let's take
at
the
least
whole-
challenge myself.
Whole group needs to go look up. Did we land on the moon?
Easy task, folks. Let's get into this
Look
debate.
up the first 10 videos, and you're gonna go, no, we didn't do that.
And let's not forget.
How do we lose the technology,
well, I was
Joe?
going to say, not
Joe.
only. Well, you would think that as technology is advanced
They said
as much as it has.
Well, we lost the technology to go up there.
Really?
Come on.
Who said that?
Out of here. Look it up.
I just got to take his word for it. I find that hard to believe, but my point is technology has advanced so much since the 60s.
Why don't we go tomorrow then?
Yeah, I don't know.
Nah.
I mean, it's already been claimed. What would be the purpose in going
it's just
collecting
weird.
more data?
Yeah, just more like
I don't know, man, but
stuff.
Look, and we gonna get into that topic on another day. But the technological advancements and the things we're exploring about space right now, as far as black holes and things like that,
What about flat Earth?
unbelievable. I'm sorry, not buying it.
I'm not saying I do.
I know, but you're gonna question it because that's who you are as a person. But
What if it's flat?
okay, and no, answer this.
But listen, I saw.
All right, we're talking about the space stuff. I want to keep on that.
All right.
How many times have you and I had an extended Saturday night, drank a lot, and we wake up on Sunday and it's like, what can we do? Because we don't feel like being in public, yada yada. You know what me and Dylan Faley do? Dylan, throw on the Alien documentary and let's marinate on it. So, let's keep with the space topic. Aliens.
Facts.
Yay or nay?
Facts.
Facts?
Yeah.
Well, what's funny about that...
Everyone's admitted it already.
I was going to say,
Was like,
what's funny about that
hey, we're
is
sorry for
government
lying,
agencies are even starting to admit it
Well, they
now.
have
We got
to.
exploratory committees and this, you know,
It's a real thing.
is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
Okay, so, but is this something you've come to recently believe, or you've always kind of thought like there's other life out there?
100%. Like, you know, when you're looking at, what was it? I mean, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. To be that honest, there is a great thing that social media and
It's
all of
the
that
gift and the curse, man.
has exposed.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's
Well,
there's a lot of negative to what like real time information can bring to America.
Well,
to, like, the
social
world.
media does help, like, cut out the mainstream media, the CNNs, the Fox Newses, the whatever. It gives you another alternate.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing that disappoints me about news on social media is there are some people that I start following and I'm like unbiased. I love the material. I love the content. I love the perspectives. But it seems like it doesn't take long that those particular sources figure out what's making money and what's not.
Well, yeah.
And they're like, all right, we're going to kind of give up on that unbiased thing. And
That's
following.
why you do right and left. Right?
Yeah.
Because the middleman doesn't make money.
Exactly. So you have to pursue hard.
If you say, I like Trump for this, blah, 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 and say, I like Biden for this, both of those supporters quit.
That's right.
You.
Man. That's right.
That's the problem.
Well, that's why I've
Completely,
probably
you know
lost
what I mean?
a lot of followers on social media, but it is like if you're in it to make the money, which let's face it, the national news, everybody, you're in it for the likes, the money, the whatever it is. You have incentive to follow whatever path.
Look,
is
even
making
the
that
independents, do it.
What
Even there was plenty that started.
Oh, I didn't know there were any.
There was plenty that started. You just didn't realize they were hot until they picked a side.
Yeah.
They always,
why,
there were
why
plenty
do we have
that
to pick a side? Why is it this side or that side? Like, you telling me in this
because
country
that's what sells. You can't fund it.
That's the true answer. I'm asking logically, out of a country of 320 million, just we have to have this or that. There's no other decision.
What sells?
You gonna vote for this or that? And if you don't vote, if you try and get crazy and vote for something that ain't this or that, you just gonna cost this or that. So,
right.
You know what I'm saying? You costing the election then. You know what I'm saying? So, I've always found that funny when people are like, well, you didn't vote for my side, you cost us the election. And I'm like, well, I didn't vote for the other side either. I'm sorry, what do you want me to do? You want me to vote for who you tell me that...
Yeah.
I'm doing my American duty, and I'm voting for who I think can better this country. I'm sorry that doesn't happen to be your person. You know what I'm saying? But don't tell me I'm voting against this person or that person, because I ain't voting for either of them. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I get it.
Okay. Well, I get that complaint a lot, so I want to get that out there. I'm a little passionate about that.
Yeah. I think being libertarian is a great feature of you.
Right.
The problem with it is there's never a candidate that you can fully draw on to win.
True. They have put forth some clowns. But that's the whole problem, is even thinking of me as a libertarian. Like you're identifying me with some.
Well, what do you want to be then?
Well, because that happens to be
No,
that happens to be the prominent third party at this point. But
that's fine.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I think
I
look. Remember when Republicans were fiscally conservative back in the day?
Yeah.
Remember when Democrats were classically liberal? In other words, I may not agree with you, but I'm going to support your right to think how you want. Both parties had some pretty decent intentions. We forget that. We look at one or the other as evil and this and that. But back in the day when they formed, like, they both had certain things that I agree with. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't harm me or the neighbor and you believe something different than I do, good for you. I support you. I don't agree with it, but that's you. Right. If you're not harming anybody, that's your thought.
Yeah.
That was a good part about the Democrats. Remember when the Democrats were anti-war? Then remember Obama breaks records for dropping bombs? Remember when Republicans didn't spend money and we need fiscal conservative and not to drop the national debt? What, between Bush and Trump? I mean, they've spent as much as Democratic presidents have. So my point is, both parties originally had great intent and things that I agree with. But to get those votes and to chase that money and to do what they need to do to gain that power in election,
right.
They have flooded off into this populist, like, do whatever it takes to get elected mentality.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my stance on it.
And that's always going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because we get caught in that cycle of, well, I'd much rather Trump than Obama, so of course I'm going to vote Republican.
I don't know about that. I don't know
like
about
lesser of two evils thing.
Well,
I feel like we've been following the lesser of two evils path.
All right.
That is what led us to where we are now.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I agree that happens.
Okay.
What I'm saying is I don't see a viable candidate to come in there that's a middleman and say, you know what? I like both of these idiots, but I'm going to cut their policies in half and say that this is the way we're going to go. Because realistically, that, in my head, that's where a lot of where America stands, is like right in the middle of all of those. right?
They understand there's something wrong with both parties, but they still look at it like, well, we're damned
100%,
if we
but
this guy.
damned if you do the other one.
Okay, roll
Where
back.
are we at? We don't.
All right, I think
we
we're
don't want to go back down this road.
I think we were. Let's bring it back to the otherworldly stuff. I want to wrap up aliens real quick because we talked about conspiracy theories, laying on the moon, all that.
Aliens is a real.
We think it's real.
Thing.
We've
but
got.
we already. The government's already decided.
All right, but what bothers me is doesn't it seem like Hollywood, the government, the government officials that have admitted we have agencies exploring this, and they won't quite admit it, but they're basically saying we do know there are extraterrestrial things that we're looking into. Don't they all kind of portray it as like a future threat? Like, we need to be worried about this. These Independence Day, movies like that. Every movie, they coming to kill us.
Right.
I don't know, man. I kind of have that thought of if they're that technologically advanced and so far ahead of us that they can travel from galaxies away that we're not even capable of doing. Don't you think if they thought we were
no, they got it figured out already.
They just watching these people be like, look at these idiots voting for this two-party system.
Well, no. I don't think it's that.
No, but they have the technology. They have the technology to ruin us. Is what I'm saying.
Well, of course.
They're way more advanced than us.
But like, here we go with you and your two-party system again.
It's it'll come up in every
What I
time.
think is like they just they like come back down. They're like, oh, these motherfuckers still stupid.
They're just checking in on us every while. They're like, no, they're still killing each other and shit.
Damn, man. Like, can they not get it? Like, it's not called Corona.
But bro, in other words, we're dealing with life situations that they probably evolved from thousands of years ago.
Or like, look at it like this. Or it's like alien teenagers that are not supposed to be here. And it's like
the young ones are coming to check on us, like
skiing through the lakes.
I don't know, man.
I
believe that. Hey, if we want to say there's aliens out there, we don't necessarily have to think like
there's aliens.
It's going to be a problem. Yeah, I mean, if they're capable of doing things we're not able to do,
I'm gonna say this.
They probably could have already destroyed us at this point.
On Joe's podcast, there's aliens out there.
You heard it here,
The
folks.
government.
If me and Dylan disappear in the next couple days, like, you know what happened. We will present. So we're going to broadcast as soon as we can.
I'm free.
All right. So we'll live with that. Aliens are real. Let's bring it back to some, like, earthly issues again. Because I don't even know who could disagree that there's a potential for other life out there. Doesn't matter if you're religious, atheist, whatever. I think we can all agree that that's a possibility at this point, right? Okay, so let's bring it back to some other worldly issues with life responsibilities. We talked about the baby girls, the work, the jobs, everything you're going through. Yeah. Let me ask you.
All those are hard.
It is, but let me ask you this, Dylan Faley. Like, sometimes we tend to get caught up in the routines. We have these twin baby girls, and it gets stuck in this sleepless pattern, and this is what life is, and if I can get a chance to go out one time every month, I'll do it, this and that. What about the future, man? What are we thinking? Life goals. What's happening in the next couple years, man? Where are we going?
I don't know, man.
Where are you going as a person? Where do you see yourself? What do you want to accomplish? Things like that.
I'm constantly on the gas on stocks.
Okay.
I have things that I do there that I do pretty well on.
So that's one tool you're dabbling in. So what you're getting at is we're looking to add more financial stability.
I'll be 100%. I have more life insurance than...
Yeah, if something happened to you, they're taking care of it.
I'm not worried about it.
Plus you got that... I mean, I'm unofficial godfather, but...
Yeah, well, I ain't signed you up, but...
I'm Italian, too, man.
It goes back to being a man.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be weird about it, but like if you don't have life insurance for your family,
with a family, absolutely.
Look, you're a 22-year-old boy. You don't need life insurance.
No, you don't have any dependents. There's no
there's
point.
A lot of things
insurance agents may not tell you that, but until you have someone that relies on your income,
well, there's a ton that don't do that. There's a ton that don't have life insurance. Look,
I have to constantly worry about Stephanie offing me so she can collect life insurance.
There is so much life insurance on me that, like, if I die, I will go ahead and say that somebody needs to investigate.
Lauren, exactly. And Lauren, if you're listening, know this. If something happens to my man, I'm coming after you. I know what happened.
Hey, I just believe in it.
Because if something were to happen...
What is the problem with me putting down a allotted amount of money a month to make sure that no one has to worry about a effing thing?
Nothing. I feel like...
Could be a lifetime.
I feel like just
providing
providing
on how
for
much
your...
Amazon
As a man, providing for your family, I feel like life insurance is part of it when you have a family.
Yeah, it is. That's another plug.
It
is crazy. It is crazy.
See, this is a former guy in insurance, and he knows the ins and outs. That's why. But if you do have a family, it's time to get some life insurance. Okay. But aside from life insurance, life goals. What else? How are you fitting in, say, travel, things like that?
Man, that's
right now at this early age.
Right now.
But we got plans, right?
Oh, 100%. They're like I said, I've been playing around in stocks, and that's, don't get me wrong, I haven't lost.
Well, I do want to touch on
But when you play in some things that don't lose, like oil and gas.
I thought that was a roller coaster, though. You need a secondary. You need some diversity on your income, right?
Sure.
I mean, that doesn't just go for the oil field. That goes for life in general.
I'm saying, like, yeah, sure, it drops.
Yeah.
You know what it does? Goes back up.
True.
You know why? Because people drive vehicles and they fly in planes and they write in pencils.
It's a huge supply and demand business.
They sit on a couch and they talk in microphones. Should I keep going about petroleum products?
It's living forever.
Anyway.
You do have the swings of the up and downs in demand. But right now, demand is maximum.
My babies got me grounded.
Right. But we're talking about other life goals.
Goals. All right, my bad. I'm sorry.
So obviously,
I do not want to work for anyone.
Just permanent.
Ever. I want to work for myself.
Well, I think that's something that you start realizing as you get older, like your own worth.
You have to do
right?
it. You have to do it.
And let's be honest. Put yourself in your boss's position. Let's say you're running a company, making the dolo. Now you've taken. I don't ever want people to think that I'm talking down about the CEOs or the owners or anything. They're the people that took the risk, that got this started, that is employing so many people, et cetera, et cetera. But let's say you're in that position, and you've got an employee like Dylan Fadley that is producing, right? You can't afford to lose that employee. What if that employee realizes self-worth or figures out something he can do on his own? Anything like that, you've lost them. So let's face it, the ultimate goal is to keep your valuable employees, but limit their potential as far as them self-realization, what they could do on their own.
Maybe. I don't find that to be fairly true. And I'll say
specific to your job? Or?
Yeah. So I don't. There's a lot of corporations I can see where they set it up like that, and then like hide.
It's a literal system. It's knowledge management. Is what it's called.
All right. Well, so I'm with it. I haven't seen that YouTube video yet, but listen, man, I am on the management side of, like, I'm pushing people underneath me to know what I do. There is a guy underneath me that could do everything I do. There's a little bit of flaw in several areas that need some improvement.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I want him to be me. I want the guy in him to be him. And the only reason I need to move up is because I can replace myself.
Right,
That's
but
the way I
if you're
look at things.
producing and managing talent that is able to eventually do what you do, that is an overall benefit for the company. That's an overall benefit for you.
If there's not a position for me to move up and they can pay that man less, I understand what you're saying.
Right.
But at the same time, I'll just find me a position somewhere else that'll probably pay me more money.
Well,
because
and you have, just as you've already done and showed, you have the potential for advancement in your company. All right, but anyway, we're talking about the life goals, the things we see ourselves doing in the future, because it's very easy to get caught up in that cycle of, man, I got to deal with kids and work and everything, and we fall into this pattern. But we got to remember, we have to keep the other goals and other things. So we were talking about it. You've dabbled in investing, stocks, crypto, things like that.
Yes.
What brought you into that exactly? Just the want to try and get in on that profit, or?
Man, I don't know. When that downturn hit in the oil field, you saw some opportunity there.
When it's sort of the roller coaster
Everything was
ride.
down, man. Everything was down.
Yeah.
And
So
I got on the gas on a couple of them and really made.
What was that, stocks mostly in the beginning?
Yeah, like Oxy and Marathon, man. They went down $20, $30, $40 a piece, and I just grabbed them. And now they're back up. So.
Well, and you've seen a lot of attention brought to that as far as investing in the meme stocks, the AMCs, the GameStops, the meme crypto, Dogecoin, things like that. Like, I've seen a ton of people try and get in.
I thought I could day trade.
We did dabble in those.
And I, I was sending you the same thing I was sending my buddies. There was two other guys that we were thought we could day trade it. You can't. Day trading is you have to do it. It's 24/7.
The technicals on stocks.
I would jump
complex.
I would jump in on $2 stock, and it would go up to $3.50, and I would sell and make a ton of money.
Well, and that's the thing. Like you saw
do the same thing.
But you saw this huge jump of just your normal average Joes,
thinking they could do it,
getting involved. Like, look at all these people making money on this GameStop and stuff, and the even quasi-investors like myself that actually look in depth at a company's value and their books and things like this. It's a bubble. It's a fad. You're looking at GameStop, which is a brick and mortar store. You're seeing these overinflated values with the stock prices, people shorting the stock, things like that.
I like it though, man.
I don't have
sticking it to the man.
I don't have any problem with that, but
GameStop and AMC.
I do have a problem with the guy that put his, took a second mortgage out and put it all in there.
Hey, that comes down to life decisions and making the right ones.
But that particular guy that I'm talking about took out a second mortgage. Now, at one point, he was up huge, but he would not sell.
Yeah.
And there comes a time when you have to take some logic into these investments and say, okay, GameStop has been at this traditionally. They're a brick and mortar store. We've got it's kind of like Blockbuster as far as them. Like, you've got all these online gaming platforms coming out with, you can on demand get what you want. That company is not worth what that stock is.
The only reason that's a real thing is because of the shorts, right? You know that.
It is, but it was an overinflated value. That's my point.
The reason why people were able to make money is because the amount of really rich people that were banking on it,
and it felt good to put it to the man.
Correct.
But at the same time, you have to look at the situation and you have to say,
you have to
I get what's happening with these shorts, but this company is not worth that.
I made this mistake a lot when I was day trading, and I'm talking about I was doing pharmaceutical. I was
every day getting on there, Robinhood, whatever account.
Look, man, I was TD Ameritrade. It was about as legit as you can get. I was grabbing things on the run and selling them on the fall.
Yeah.
right? You know, so if I grab
Buy-
it at $2,
Buy the dip.
I'm talking
Buy
about
the
these
dip.
are companies that I didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw them flying and grab it at $2.50 on the way up and run to $3.50, $4.50, sometimes a $10, man.
And it's
Listen,
addictive.
and if you grab it at $9, bro, I made $3,000. I'm out.
That's what I'm saying. It's
But
addictive
you know how many times,
because
you know how many times I missed?
a bunch.
You cannot.
Well, the more you
half-ass
get into it, the
day
more you
trade.
realize
You cannot-
ain't every trade like that first one I was successful with, right?
Cannot half-ass day trade.
Well, and-
I was out. I'm out.
But that's probably one of the most important points because you and I right now are talking about the play around. But anyway, back to investing. That's my issue. I had a lot of people message me on Facebook and other things, and they're asking me like, how can I get rich quick? How can I what crypto should I invest in? And I always told them, man, all this stuff is a roller coaster. Like, we rarely talk about, me and you even, when we were in this fad, we're less of it in it now, but
Yeah, I'm out.
we never talked about what ended up performing better. All these risky picks that we're trying to make some money on, or your long-term retirement.
Long-term retirement.
Exactly. The stuff you don't mess with is what's
My
really
401k
important.
right now is at
Yeah.
17%.
Okay, well, that's my point. That's my point.
That's money.
All that outperforms everything we're talking about. So that's been one of my pet peeves as someone that tries to gain knowledge on the markets and crypto stock, whatever. Like, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing. I'm not just blindly going in there and throwing dumb money at stuff and being like, I hope this works out and I hope I get rich.
Yeah.
But huge pet peeve of mine because those same people that are doing that are literally affecting my investment values.
It happens. No. I mean, like, you would be surprised that, like, so TikTok has been able to influence the stock market. Like, people were like, what in
Oh, Trump tried to literally get rid of them because they affected
would
one
move.
of his.
Yeah,
It's
crazy.
got huge influence.
Yeah, no, facts. It is one of the biggest things that you can possibly put on the market right now and hit big. Pet peeves.
But pet peeves, man, what are some that you have? Like, that's one of mine. Just
Like,
anything that follows like a fad or a.
man, let me
It
think.
it truly
peeve.
bothers me.
All right. I walk into a convenience store. I open my door for you. I open the door for you, or you open the door. Look,
I've been there. I know.
bro. Happened on the way here. I look up, and this person is close enough to me to where I'm like, oh, well, I'm holding the door because I'm a person,
Female or male?
male,
Okay.
older than me.
That's
If
fine.
it was younger,
Respect.
I'd have probably slammed it. Fuck him. Cut that. Man, I opened the door, just walked through and didn't say anything.
Didn't even look
Yeah,
at
I
you.
was
Like,
like,
didn't even give you the head nod.
No.
Like, thank you.
no. Like, walked through like I was an idiot. And I was like, okay. So, number one.
Okay, so we're
Number
leading
one,
into
man.
this
Pet
pet
peeve,
peeve
man.
thing
Pet
of
peeve.
other things other people do. For me, man, like, what's up with y'all's driving here in Northwest Louisiana, bro? Simple things, not using the blinker. People literally stop before they get into the turning lane. Like, things that I learned day one taking my driver's test. What is happening with the drivers in Bossier City, Shreveport, Louisiana?
I don't think it's not. It's just because you drive here, man. Bro, there are drivers.
Was anyone paying attention when we
I don't know
learned
who-
about how to drive and where
The
the
reason
right-of-ways
why
are?
Louisiana has the worst or the most
Insurance.
expensive insurance
Yes.
is because of these people. I don't know. I gotta be dead honest, man. Like, you know, when you come up to all right, it's a 2-lane highway. They coming this way, I'm coming this way, right?
Yeah.
This is twos. 2 here,
All right.
2 here. And there's a big ass median where, like, we can decide if we want to go in that and go the other direction. Well, one of where I work, you have to go into one of those.
Right.
And it's just a small gap.
Sure.
Of pavement.
But you're not blocking traffic.
There's nothing. You just.
Yeah.
So I come in at 6:30 a.m. sometimes 7. Come in there and it's like there's 3 people out of this trailer park, man,
bro,
that are like piled up right there. Like wait. And I mean, I'm telling you, man, sometimes I'm like, I want to set your stuff on fire. Like
I road rage too, man.
Can you?
I'm like trying to be a good Christian dude driving down the road, and before I know it, I'm like, you stupid.
I have to catch myself.
Me too,
and I go, stop. Man.
Well,
whatever.
Hey,
they're dealing with some stuff, or I'm dealing with some stuff.
I've had some. I don't know if you've experienced like a true road rage incident, but I had a guy in Natchitoches, Louisiana, that literally pulled out in front of me. Thank God I was paying attention. I slammed on my brakes and I skid. And I was probably an inch away from making contact with their vehicle. So, of course.
You did that on our trip.
Okay. Well, I'm telling a different story now. We'll bring that one up in a second.
You did that on our trip to
Florida.
You almost killed me. I didn't have my seatbelt on.
That's fine.
I was trying to get
thank God I was paying
the beers
attention.
out of the back, and you almost killed me. Yeah.
Okay, but thank God I was paying attention like I was in this other situation. But let me tell you the difference.
Oh, he was definitely.
Rather than traffic continuing to flow in Natchitoches this time, this dude pulls out in front of me, literally almost getting a wreck. Like if I would have not even been paying attention for a half second, it would have been a rear collision. Anyway, I stop in time. Well, what do I do, Dylan Faley? How do I react when this dude and I prevent a wreck and he had pulled out in front of me? I might have thrown up the middle finger. I don't know what I did, but I reacted.
All right.
This guy stops in the middle of a busy highway, gets out of his vehicle, looks at me.
He beat you up.
He could have, but instead of doing that, he went for the intimidation factor, which was he gets out of his vehicle, he looks at me. There's probably 4 cars lined up behind me that also had to slam on their brakes. And you know what he does? Mm-hmm. He lifts up his shirt. He packing heat.
Yeah.
In other words, I don't care what I do on this road.
Right.
If you look at me like that again, your ass getting shot.
100%.
So I kind of learned to tame my road rage, but I still get it, man.
You have to. It does. It comes, man.
Because you know, it's the fact of knowing that if it wasn't for you paying attention, like there could be some serious shit.
We'd be in a damn accident.
Yeah.
And it's like no big deal.
It's enraging, man.
Yeah.
What other pet peeves? Anything other than that?
I agree. If I hold a door open for you and you don't say thank you, man, I'm mad.
That is such a pet peeve that he is still on that. That really pissed you off today.
I'm so mad, dude. It's ridiculous.
I know. People are just more rude now. Like, it's like we've lost that basic human courtesy connection.
I don't know what it is, to be dead honest.
What else would you call it? I mean,
I say thank you. I mean, like, if I'm walking past you and I feel like that I might have gotten your way, I'm like, excuse me.
Me too. If I accidentally bump into something, I'm apologizing.
I've never bumped anybody. I don't know what that means. You bumped into people?
On occasion, like at busy places like
you know what? That's another pet peeve. People don't know the fucking surroundings, man. Watch out.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in a busy place, sometimes you make contact.
No.
All right, you've never
never
been to New Orleans at Mardi Gras, obviously, because you don't have the option of avoiding people. You're gonna run.
We're all touching each other.
Absolutely.
But I'm talking about if we're at CVS and you're looking at the vitamin C, and I'm standing there and you bump into me. Are you retarded?
Angry Dylan, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm just saying.
All right.
Aggravated.
Well, those are our pet peeves. I'm sure you can relate. Let's shut off there, man. I mean, Dylan, Fadley, and I could literally sit here and talk for probably 10 hours without even knowing that it went 10 hours. So let's cut it off.
Where are we at?
We are at.
We just got started. I got
2.5 hours, bro.
2.5 hours.
We're at 2.5 hours.
I don't have time.
We're gonna chop it. Dylan ain't got time for this. We're gonna chop it off, but Fadley will be back. I assure you. We're gonna we're gonna co-host some people. He's also gonna have his own solos back again. So, y'all, I hope you enjoyed
we got
it.
a lot to talk about.
We do. There's so much
hit
more.
on-
There's so much more. But for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are out. I hope you enjoyed it. Dylan, tell them good night.
Good night. Thank you, guys.